Hello everyone, and welcome to the Frank Tufano news channel, your one and only news source for all things Frank Tufano. And we have a breaking story for you today. Apparently, Frank Tufano has been able to make gains, and we're going to go live to our reporter in the field, Ollie. Ollie, tell us, is it true? Has Frank Tufano actually packed on muscle mass? Yes, thank you, Richard. Now, as you know, this is a breaking news story. We've only just been able to review the footage, and it does appear that Frank Tufano has put on some muscle mass. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to how he has achieved this. Some say he's eating more, others say he's just been going to the gym, but absolutely no one believes that he is on steroids. He is still far too small and weak for a man for that to be a reality. So this is a long, ongoing story that keeps on developing, and for those of you who haven't been following along this entire time, a while ago, Frank Tufano started uploading workout videos to his channel, which were just awful. Not only was his advice just generally bad, he recommended avoiding heavy weight training, avoiding heavy compound lifts like squats, deadlifts, bench press, but he was also performing these exercises with atrocious form. It was so bad that it was bordering on dangerous, and of course he received a ton of criticism, but Frank thought he wasn't doing anything wrong, so he uploaded a video claiming that, no, my workout advice is perfect, all of you are idiots, you don't know what you're talking about. So Frank just proceeded to keep uploading these terrible workout videos, and people kept proceeding to criticize him for it. And I guess the criticism eventually got to him because Frank later uploaded a video claiming that exercise is bad for him, it's giving him health issues, he's constantly throwing up and having digestive problems, and he's going to quit weight training.
Me being in the gym every day this week requires me to eat more meals. So instead of my normal 1 meal per day, I've been eating 2 large meals per day. And my sleep has been getting progressively worse and worse. High EMF environments, like the gym, impair all of your bodily functions, including sleep and digestion. Around 9:30 a.m., I got really nauseous, and for the first time in my life, projectile vomited all over the place. Just this really foul mixture of ground beef and these oils. This gave me a reality check on why I stopped lifting weights in the first place. Partially because of the food volume. It is not conducive to health. My parents actually watched my video yesterday saying I should care more about being healthy as opposed to appealing to a bunch of morons. Even the majority of you guys said I looked good and there was no real point for me to even weight lift.
And shortly after Frank uploaded this video, he deleted it. I'm not exactly sure why. I'm assuming it's just because of embarrassment. Frank frequently criticizes vegans for being weak, skinny, malnourished, but, then he uploads a video saying that, I can't even go to the gym, it's making me sick. So I'm assuming that's the reason. Frank also posted on his community tab on YouTube, again, hinting at, him not being interested in uploading any more workout content. I'm assuming he just couldn't handle the criticism anymore. So things have been quiet for a while, but just the other day, Frank uploaded a video where he showed off his progress. Apparently he never stopped weight training. So we're going to go through this video. There's some interesting things, there's some funny things I want to talk about, and yeah, let's roll it.
What is up, fairy boys? How's that progressive overload routine going?
So we're only a few seconds into Frank's video, and he already managed to say something stupid. So Frank has received a lot of criticism for his unorthodox training techniques. So Frank is trying to mock people here, trying to mock some of these more conventional training principles like progressive overload. So Frank, in the first few seconds of his video, is saying progressive overload is for stupid people. Frank, the only way to make progress in any athletic endeavor, whether it be muscle growth, strength, you have to incorporate progressive overload into your training. There is no way to make progress without incorporating progressive overload into your training. So I don't think you even know what progressive overload is. It is absolutely insane for you to claim that progressive overload is just a dumb principle. That's like saying,
Hey Narlin, I just got off the phone with Keegan's teacher, and apparently he failed another math test. Have you not been helping him study? What the hell is you talking about? Studying doesn't make you better at school, so why the hell would I bother studying with Keegan? Face it, Brandine, our son is just a dum-dum, and I think it's pretty obvious that he got it from your side of the family.
So Frank, if you think progressive overload is a waste of time and you shouldn't incorporate it into your training, then I think you've just proven to everyone that no one should listen to your training advice. But to be fair, it's pretty obvious that Frank just doesn't know what it is. He suggested in his video that he thinks it's a specific type of routine and not a training principle. Frank, you should probably know these things if you plan on giving workout advice. So in any case, you just don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Are you hitting that big three, bro? The bench, squat, and deadlift? Still masturbating over Athlean X videos? Are you mesmerized by Vegan Gains' Fatceps?
Alright, so Frank then went on to suggest that the squat, bench, and deadlift are not effective exercises for strength and muscle growth, which is insane. He also suggested that his advice for training is better than the advice that Jeff Cavalier of Athlean X gives, which I cannot even begin to describe how delusional you would have to be to make that claim, Frank. And then Frank also claimed that I have fat seps, as if my arms are just made of pure fat. Frank, my arms aren't pure fat. They're more muscular and stronger than your arms. I do dumbbell curls with 65 pounds, whereas you only use 15 pounds, and there are vegan girls on YouTube who use that same weight.
10 or 15 pounds when used in that isolation bicep curl is by no means a light weight. It might be light in comparison to the weight you guys are usually jerking around with your whole body, but it is more than enough weight to effectively recruit all of the muscle fibers in the bicep. This is a moderate to heavy amount of weight when being used with proper form.
Naturally, Stephanie, as the example here, a vegan girl, here's footage of her doing dumbbell curls with 7-kilogram dumbbells, or 15 pounds. So a vegan girl is using as much weight as you are for dumbbell curls. So Frank, it makes no sense for you to criticize me for having fat seps when you are so weak you can't even outlift vegan girls on YouTube. And in fact, Michelle Lowe uploaded a video to her channel where you can see her doing dumbbell curls with 22-pound weights, which is a lot more weight than Frank Tufano claims to use for biceps curls. And as you can see, she's just a middle-aged woman. She's not in great shape, but even she can outlift Frank Tufano. So, Frank, you making these sorts of, claims against me, like, oh, Vegan Gains, you have fat arms. This is just projection. You're very clearly insecure about your own physical appearance and your athletic performance, so you're just projecting those insecurities onto other people. And Frank, if you think you're in such great shape, if you think you're so muscular and strong, well then why don't you prove it? Why don't you show some lifting footage where you're outlifting me in the gym? We can actually meet up and have an arm wrestling match. If you think you're so strong, if you think your arms, I just have fat arms, right? No muscle here, right, Frank? So if you think you're so muscular and strong, why don't we meet up and have an arm wrestling match? You live in New York, which isn't too far from me. I'm close to Toronto. It's not a far drive. I can meet up anytime, Frank, and we can have an arm wrestling competition if you're so confident in yourself.
Now that I'm somewhat muscular, you weirdos can make a cardboard cutout of my face to put on your girlfriend while she's pegging you. That is, if you're not already doing that.
So again, I think this is another obvious example of projection. Frank is just projecting his insecurities about his sexuality onto other people, making fun of people for being gay, fantasizing about having sex with men, when he's the one actually doing that. So I think it's pretty obvious that Frank is gay. Not only is he very flamboyant, he has videos on his channel where he dresses like a girl, acts like a girl. There's even a clip of him basically having semen on his face. And not only that, but he's also starred in a number of homoerotic films.
Wanted to thank you for being such a good girlfriend. You were my first experience with a guy. And if we were still together, I wouldn't want to let you go. feel like I was the reason we broke up.
Lewis.
I'm sorry. I gotta go to class.
Wait, Lewis, come on.
And don't get the wrong idea, I'm not saying that it's bad for Frank to be gay. It's totally fine. I have no issue with gay people. If Frank is gay, I don't think he should be criticized for it. What I'm criticizing Frank for is just projecting his own insecurities. It's obvious that he's insecure about his sexuality. He's insecure about a lot of things, and every time I see him criticizing me, criticizing other people, he's just projecting his own insecurities. And I think what's great evidence of this, too, is how he responds to being called gay.
I'm not gay. Is it true I'm gay? No. And Casper Lund, can you tell me who's saying I'm gay? Because I do have a problem with people. I do have a problem because what you're doing is literally hate discrimination. Like that's something that YouTube really does not like, and that's something even with the modern feminist bullshit and all the LGBTQ or something, all that stuff. That is very unprofessional, and making fun of someone for their gay is like what are you in the Bible Belt, or what are you, a 12-year-old? Like you're immature, you have a low IQ. I don't want to be associated with that type of stuff. If you're the type of person to make fun of someone for being gay or ask them if they're gay, you're a moron and you need to get off my YouTube channel.
So, Frank, when people call you gay, you go on this tirade talking about how they're being hateful, bigoted, it's wrong to make fun of people for being gay. If you do that, you're a horrible person. But you do that on a regular basis. In this video that you just uploaded a few days ago, you are making fun of people for being gay, liking men. So it's very obvious what's going on here. You have a number of insecurities, one of them being your sexuality, and you just project those insecurities about being gay onto other people. But then when people do that to you and, make fun of you for being gay, well, you try to deflect those criticisms by, just fake virtue signaling, lying about how you hate it when people are bigoted and discriminate against people based on their sexuality. There's the saying, ugly on the outside, ugly on the inside. You're weak on the outside and weak on the inside. You're weak on the outside because you're just weak. You can't lift heavy weights. And you're weak on the inside because you don't have the strength of character to recognize and work on your insecurities.
So it's been almost 3 months since I've started lifting weights again after a several year hiatus of 8 to 9 years of bodybuilding. I've put on about 15 pounds of lean mass over the past 3 months. Started at 142 pounds. Now I'm around 156 at 5'8". Now this wouldn't be considered impressive if not for the fact that I don't work out my upper legs. So hypothetically, if I was working out my legs, I'd have at least, 10 pounds of muscle on each leg. So I should weigh 175, 180 right now. And my peak bodybuilding weight was 180, 185 pounds. So I still wasn't doing legs back then. I could have weighed 205, 210, 215. Who knows?
All right, so Frank made a number of claims, most of which are lies, but there are some teeny tiny nuggets of truth in there, so let's get the truth out of the way first. The truth is, he did put on some mass, he did grow. Did he put on 15 pounds of lean mass? No, obviously not, but he did grow. I think that's in large part due to just eating more. Before, Frank claimed he was only eating 1 meal per day, but now, since he started weight training, he's eating at least 2 meals per day. And it kind of shows he's eating more calories. Not only does he look like more filled out, but he's also not quite as lean, and you can tell his stomach is bulging more, so he's obviously eating more. Now, I think overall he's made very obvious improvements to his physique. Before, it looked like he was actually starving and malnourished, under-eating. Now it looks like he's eating enough. He did put on a little bit more muscle. It's nowhere near 15 pounds of muscle. I think it's closer to maybe like 5. If you're being generous, maybe 7 pounds of muscle. You can very clearly see in these before and after comparisons, there's not that big of a difference, but he did fill out. I think he made improvements to his physique, so credit where credit's due. So now let's just cover all the lies he made. So first he claimed that he gained roughly 15 pounds of lean mass. He went from 142 pounds to 156 pounds in 3 months. That is a lie. You can tell just visually he did not gain 15 pounds of lean mass. No, he didn't even gain 15 pounds, I don't think, because his first weigh-in wasn't 142 pounds. His first weigh-in was 148 pounds. He actually has this recorded on camera, but to be fair, he was holding a camera while doing the weigh-in. He mentioned this in his weigh-in video.
This is going to be my starting physique. Currently, I am 5'8", technically 5'7" and like 9/10, just under 5'8". Weighed in at 140 pounds. Some of you guys might not believe my weight of 140 pounds, and I weighed this much 2 days ago after finishing a 3-day fast, and I had a big meal this morning, so I have gained a bit of the weight back, and keep in mind my camera and my tripod weigh a few pounds. 148, so I'm about 145, 146 right now. Without holding the camera.
So Frank is obviously lying about the amount of weight he gained and how much of that weight is muscle mass. He claims that his initial weigh-in, before he started this weight training transformation thing, he was at 142. Well, no, the video that you uploaded to your channel, you weighed in at 145, 146 if you account for the camera weight. So where are you getting this 142 number from? You're just making things up. And he never did another weigh-in. He's just claiming that he weighs 156. He never showed this on camera. So considering that we can't trust you when you report your weigh-ins, you're probably not 156. You probably weigh a little less and you're just inflating these numbers to make your transformation seem more impressive. But assuming we can even take you at your word, you weigh 156 right now, that would mean at most you gained about 10 to 11 pounds of total body weight. That's not even muscle mass. And clearly, if you look at these transformations, he gained roughly, half of that in muscle, half of that in body fat, and some water retention from just eating more food. So also consider Frank claims to have been doing bodybuilding for 8 years. He claims that at his peak, he weighed like 180, 185 pounds. So after 3 months, you'd think muscle memory would kick in and you'd be able to put on more than 5 pounds of muscle mass. But, this is the sort of transformation you can expect from Frank, who trains like this.
All right, Keegan, why don't you tell your dumb mother what you just got on your last math test? Oh, I got 100% this time, Ma. And he did it without any studying. See, Brandine, I told you studying was a waste of time. Well, how the hell would you get 100% without even studying? Oh, it was easy. I just cheated like Dad told me to.
And then Frank went on to claim that he doesn't train lower body, he doesn't train his legs, but if he had done lower body training, he would have gained an additional 10 pounds of muscle mass per leg. So in only 3 months worth of training, if he had also trained lower body, he would have gained an additional 20 pounds of muscle mass. No, Frank, not even in your wildest dreams. That is completely delusional. A completely noob lifter who's never done any weight training before can't even expect to gain that much muscle mass across their entire body within a year's worth of training. So for you to claim that you could gain 20 pounds of muscle in just your legs alone after only 3 months, you've once again proven yourself to be a completely delusional liar. And Frank is also lying about his peak body weight. He claims that when he was taking bodybuilding really seriously, he got up to about 180, 185 pounds. That's a lie. He never weighed 180, 185 pounds, at least while still being relatively lean. So keep in mind, Frank claims that he had never trained legs before in his life. So he's claiming that compared to now, at his peak body weight, when he was at his peak physique for bodybuilding, he would have had an extra 25 to 30 pounds of muscle mass on his upper body alone. Nope, never happened. And you can see a lot of instances where Frank lies about his body weight and, his transformation and everything. So here's a post Frank made on his Twitter back in August of this year. The post reads, "My brother found a picture from when I was 21. This was a few years before I quit weightlifting, probably put on another 15 to 20 pounds of weight. Now, keep in mind, Frank claims that he has 8 years of experience bodybuilding, weight training, and he quit doing bodybuilding back in 2014.
So it's been almost 3 months since I've started lifting weights again after a several year hiatus of 8 to 9 years of bodybuilding.
I went from 185 to 130 pounds when I first quit bodybuilding in 2014.
So with all of this information, this gives us a pretty accurate timeline. If Frank quit bodybuilding in 2014, but he had been doing bodybuilding for 8 years, that means 2014 minus 8, he started doing bodybuilding in 2006. And that would also mean that by the time this photo was taken in 2011, he had already been doing bodybuilding and weight training for 5 years. But Frank is claiming that after this photo was taken, he gained an additional 15 to 20 pounds of body weight until 2014 when he eventually quit. So for those of you who don't know much about natural bodybuilding and weight training, naturals gain the vast majority of their muscle mass within the first 3 years of weight training. After that, your gains really slow down. Realistically, you can only expect to gain maybe 1 or 2 pounds of muscle per year. Now, Frank is claiming that after 5 years of training, he gained an additional 15 to 20 pounds of muscle within the next 3 years. So that's an average of 5 to 7 pounds of muscle growth per year. No, that didn't happen. That's physically impossible for a natural. So if Frank is going to claim that he gained 15 to 20 pounds of muscle after already weight training for 5 years, that would mean the vast majority of that weight is just body fat, not muscle. I don't think that's what Frank was trying to suggest, so again, this just exposes another one of his lies. Frank knows that he doesn't look too impressive in this photo, so he's just making up the story that, oh, you know, if you think I look good here, I gained another 15 to 20 pounds of muscle after this photo was taken. It's nonsense. And there's some other inconsistencies to his story. So again, Frank claimed that at his peak, he weighed about 180, 185 pounds. Well, I found a video on Frank's channel where he claimed that he could never compete with other naturals because they weighed 180 to 190 pounds. Well, if Frank weighed 180, 185 pounds at his peak, why would he not be able to compete against other naturals at his body weight?
The other thing I learned was my frame size is not... Like, I'm nowhere near the size of those other guys. Those other natural guys are 180, 190 pounds and similar musculature, but my frame is just so much smaller that I look good by myself. And I just never really wanted to do drugs. I've never done any drugs. I've never taken any performance-enhancing drugs.
So this doesn't make any sense, and Frank Tufano is just clearly lying. First, he claims when he was doing bodybuilding, he got up to 180, 185 pounds. He was totally jacked. But then you can find a video on his channel where he claimed he could never compete with any other natural bodybuilders because they weighed 180 to 190 pounds. They were so much bigger and heavier than he was. Well, how could you have weighed 180, 185 pounds if these 180 to 190 pound guys were much heavier and bigger than you are? It obviously doesn't make sense. He's obviously lying to make it seem as though he knows what he's talking about to give himself, like, credibility. And the only photo that we have from his bodybuilding days was from 2015, where he claims he only weighed 140 pounds on stage. So I don't think Frank has ever gotten above 160, and I think that's being generous. So Frank is just clearly lying about everything. He's lying about this transformation. He's lying about how big he got in the past. He's lying about how much weight he's gained recently. Everything's a lie. And I should also mention that in Frank's original video from 3 months ago, not only did he weigh himself, but he also took body measurements. He measured his waist, arms, chest. In this more recent update video, he didn't do anything. He didn't weigh himself. He didn't measure himself. So again, that clearly shows that he hasn't made much progress. So Frank, if you think I'm lying, if you want to disprove everything I'm saying here, well, why don't you weigh yourself, show us on camera, and also take measurements like you did in your original video.
Most of you doubted me, and there were a few people who supported me, even reached out for my training routine. But for those of you that still want to talk, wait another 3 months and then I'll crunch you into a basketball in 2 seconds instead of 3.
Well, Frank, that sounds like a challenge. If you think you're going to be stronger than me in 3 months, if you think you'll be able to crunch me into a basketball, then let's set up an arm wrestling match. You live in New York, you're not too far from me, so let's do it.
I'm expecting there to be some negative vegans as well as carnivore mongoloids who make ridiculous accusations such as steroids.
Don't worry, Frank. I don't think you're on steroids. I don't think you're at risk of anyone thinking you're on steroids, so no need to worry about that. But tell me what you think in the comments section down below. Do you think Frank is natty or not? And do you think his transformation is real, or do you think he's faking it, lying about some of these numbers? And if you like this video, maybe consider supporting me on Patreon or through my website. I have some funding perks you may find interesting. If you're looking for clothing, then check out the Vegan Gains store. And if you're looking for online coaching, then check out Quality Gains. He offers customized meal and training programs, and if you click the link, you'll get a free ebook. And as always, keep making those vegan gains.
What a relief! When will this poisonous product cease? This is another public service announcement. You can believe it or you can doubt it. Let us begin now with the cow. The way it gets to your plate and how.